Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Pharmacy Lessons Made Easy. Today we are going to start the new unit, that is heat transfer, which is as per PCI syllabus the second A module or chapter of pharmaceutical engineering subject. This belongs to B.Pharm third semester syllabus. So let's begin with pharmaceutical engineering second A module topic, heat transfer. So basically what we are going to study in this video, we shall study about what is heat transfer process, what are the objectives, why we are actually studying this topic heat transfer, and where do we apply the concepts learned for the heat transfer, and ultimately what are the different mechanisms by which the heat transfer process actually takes place. So let's begin our discussion. Very firstly, what is heat transfer? Actually, all matter composed of molecules, atoms, and these atoms always move differently either by translational mode or rotation mode or vibrational mode, and the movement of these atoms and molecules generate heat energy, or you can say the thermal energy. More and more atoms or molecules, as they will move, they will generate more thermal energy and will possess that energy also. So this transfer of heat from an object which is at comparatively higher temperature to the object which is at lower temperature is called the heat transfer process. So heat actually flows in or leaves this particular system. So it can be done directly or indirectly, both ways, and ultimately this heat transfer process may result in physical or chemical transformation. Transformation means changes that will take place once the transfer of heat is actually taking place. Now, where do we apply this process of heat transfer? So let's understand that aspect. One thing is, heat transfer is required for certain dosage forms. If we classify like during dealing with liquid dosage forms, semi-solid dosage form, and other dosage forms. And if we talk about the processes, heat is required for drying of wet mass. Suppose we are producing tablets, there we have to dry the samples or granules, there we have to apply transfer of heat. Other than the drying process, we can apply the transfer of heat during other unit operations like distillation to convert the liquid to vapor, and therefore individual component will get separated at different places. In case of steam distillation, steam is actually required for this to take place, the transfer of heat, and we generally prepare different vegetable extracts also by the use of process which involve heat transfer like evaporation. Other than that, the crystallization of the drug also involve supersaturation by transfer of heat. We can also use the transfer of heat in sterilization of pharmaceutical products. We can use either dry heat or moist heat. Okay, and other processes that involve heat transfer involve boiling and fusion also. Now the most important thing is how this heat is getting transferred from one place to another place or from one media to another media. There are three probable ways which have been proposed, which are responsible either alone or in combination for the transfer of heat. Okay, so this heat transfer will always find a way of transference from higher temperature system to a lower temperature system, and it is a dynamic process. Okay, so if we talk about the very first stage, that is very first mechanism, that is conduction. So conduction is basically a thermal energy transference where the molecular action or no motion of the medium particles takes place, and mostly it happens in those solids where vibration is the major mechanism of transference rather than actual movement of the particles. And there is a physical contact which is required, not the mixing in the case of conduction. The better is the conductor, the faster will be the transference of heat take place. Generally, the metals are considered to be good conductor of heat, and conduction will take place when a substance is heated. The particles will acquire that energy, and after acquiring that energy, the vibration tendency of the particles will get increased. So they will vibrate more, and these molecules then bump to the neighboring particle and transfer their energy, some part of it, to the next or the neighbor particle. So this actually get continued from one particle to the next and next, and in this way the transmittance of energy takes place from the hot end to the cool end of the substance. This is how conduction takes place, and it usually depends on the nature of the material. Like I said that metals are good conductors of heat as well as electricity also. If we talk about the second mechanism, that is convection, where the heat is transferred again from the hot place to cold place, but it involves actual mixing of the warm portion with the cold portion of the same material. As an example, like on the right hand side I have shown you a diagram where water is boiling in a pan, and here the convection is actually taking place inside this pan. Not only in this pan but also in the atmosphere. The surface of earth is heated by the sun, and which results in air to become warm. Warm air rises up and cool air enters inside, and if the motion is due to the density difference, this actually is created by the difference in temperature, then the natural convection process will take place. And if we pretend that motion of fluid by mechanical means, then that process will be called forced convection. So that is how natural and forced convection are different. Okay, so this was about conduction and convection. If we talk about radiation, radiation is that method of heat transfer which is not at all related to any contact, as was the case with conduction, nor mixing, as was the case with convection. Rather, not at all any contact take place between the heat source and the heated object. The heat will be transferred through even empty space, because here in this case electromagnetic radiations are involved which will carry the energy transference. For example, the heat from the sun or heat generated by the filament of bulb that reaches to us because of the electromagnetic radiations. So these were the different mechanisms through which the transference of heat take place. So overall we have discussed about what is heat transfer process, where do we apply that heat transfer process in pharmaceutical fields, and what are the different mechanisms of heat transfer. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do click on the like button, subscribe my channel, share it on social media, and you may write in the comment section for the feedback of this particular video. Thank you everyone.